Commander Sarah Chen stared at the view screen with growing dread. The Meridian had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the New Eden system, and something was terribly wrong. The usual chatter of communication signals that should be flooding their receivers was absent. Complete silence where there should have been the voices of 2.3 million colonists living their daily lives. Communications, any response from New Eden Control? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer from the grim expression on Lieutenant Torres's face. Nothing, Commander. Dead silence across all frequencies. Even the automated beacon signals. I've stopped. Torres turned from his station, worry clear in his voice. The last recorded transmission was 14 days ago, just a routine shipping manifest. Chen felt a cold knot forming in her stomach. New Eden wasn't just any colony. It was humanity's crown jewel in the Kepler sector. A thriving world that had gone from frontier outpost to major population center in just 30 years. 2.5 million people didn't just go silent without a reason. Take us in, but keep the shields up and weapons ready, she ordered. Something's not right here. As the Meridian moved deeper into the system, the crew began to notice other, disturbing signs. The orbital traffic control satellites were dark. The massive solar collection arrays that powered the colony hung motionless, their reflective surfaces scarred and blackened. Even the commercial shipping lanes were empty, with no sign of the constant flow of freight haulers that kept New Eden supplied. Dr. Amanda Walsh, the ship's science officer, looked up from her sensors with a pale face. Commander, I'm picking up some very strange readings from the planet's surface. Energy signatures I've never seen before, and... She paused, double-checking her instruments. The colony's main population centers are showing massive thermal scarring. Chen's blood ran cold. Thermal scarring? As in something very hot hit them. Multiple somethings spread across all the major settlements. Walsh's hands trembled slightly as she worked her controls. Commander, I think New Eden has been attacked. The view screen shifted to show the planet below as they entered orbit. What they saw made the entire bridge crew gasp in horror. Where New Eden's capital city of Haven should have spread across the continent's eastern coast, there was only a massive crater of fused glass. The crater glowed with residual heat, its edges perfectly smooth as if something had simply erased the city from existence. My God, whispered Navigator Kim. The whole city is just gone. Chen forced herself to remain calm, though her heart was racing. Launch reconnaissance drones to all major population centers. I want to know what happened here. The drones deployed quickly, their cameras transmitting back images that grew worse with each passing minute. Every major settlement on New Eden had suffered the same fate. Cities that had housed hundreds of thousands of people were now nothing but glass craters. Smaller towns had been reduced to scattered debris fields. The agricultural zones that had fed the colony were burned wastelands. But it was Dr. Walsh who made the discovery that chilled everyone to the bone. Commander, the colony's quantum beacon is still active. It's been broadcasting a repeating message on emergency frequencies. Put it through, Chen ordered. The bridge speakers crackled to life with static. Then a voice emerged. It was Governor Patricia Martinez, New Eden's elected leader. Her voice was filled with terror and desperation. This is Governor Martinez of New Eden Colony. If anyone receives this message, stay away. Do not come here. They came from the void, ships like living, darkness. We tried to fight, but our weapons did nothing. They're not just killing us, they're studying us, taking samples. They're learning about us, and I think they're planning something worse. The ships are moving toward the outer settlements now. God help us, they're not just destroying everything, they're harvesting us. The message cut to static, then began repeating. Chen felt sick. When was this transmitted? According to the timestamp, this was sent just before the last automated beacon signal stopped, Torres replied. 14 days ago, Dr. Walsh was running deeper scans of the planet's surface. Commander, I'm detecting some kind of artificial structures near the crater that used to be Haven. They're not human technology. Show me. The main screen displayed a close-up view of strange, organic-looking devices scattered around the glassed remains of the city. They were roughly pyramid-shaped but seemed to pulse with internal light. Metallic tendrils extended from their bases, disappearing into the fused ground. They're still active, Walsh reported. Whatever those things are, they're drawing power from somewhere and transmitting data. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. Chen made a decision that would change everything. Prepare a landing party. Full hazmat protocols. I want to know what those devices are and what they're doing. 3 hours later, Chen found herself on the surface of New Eden, wearing a full environmental suit and flanked by her security team. The silence was unnerving. No bird songs, no insect sounds, no wind through trees. Even the air felt wrong, thick and somehow oily despite their suit filters. The alien devices were even more disturbing up close. They were definitely organic, their surfaces covered in what looked like living tissue that pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm. The metallic tendrils that extended from them were burrowing deep into the ground, and when Dr. Walsh scanned them with her equipment, she made a discovery that horrified them all. "Commander, these tendrils are extracting biological samples from the ground. DNA, cellular material, even trace organic compounds. They're cataloging every form of life that existed here." "Why would they want to do that?" asked Sergeant Morrison, the security team leader. Before anyone could answer, one of the devices suddenly flared brighter. A holographic display appeared above it, showing detailed biological scans of human physiology. Genetic structures, brain patterns, even emotional responses were being cataloged with scientific precision. Chen stared at the display in growing horror. "They're not just studying our dead, they're learning about our species." Dr. Walsh was scanning other devices now, her movements becoming more frantic. "Commander, it's worse than that. These things aren't just analyzing human biology. I'm detecting samples from dozens of other species. Some of these genetic patterns aren't in our databases at all." "You mean they've done this before?" "To other worlds, other species. This is organized, systematic. Whoever did this to New Eden, they're not random raiders or pirates. They're scientists, and we're their latest experiment." Chen activated her comm unit to contact the ship. "Torres, are you monitoring our suit cameras?" "Yes, Commander. We're recording everything." "Good. I want all this data transmitted immediately to Fleet Command, on Earth. Priority Alpha emergency protocols. And Torres?" "Yes, ma'am." "Tell them what we found here. Tell them that something out there is hunting intelligent species, studying them, cataloging them. And based on what Governor Martinez said in that last transmission, I think they're planning to do this to other human colonies." As they prepared to return to the Meridian, Chen took one last look around the devastated landscape that had once been home to over 2 million people. Somewhere out there in the dark of space, the creatures responsible for this atrocity were still alive. They had treated human beings like laboratory specimens, erasing an entire world as casually as scientists might dispose of used test subjects. But they had made one critical mistake. They had left evidence behind, and now, humanity would know exactly what had happened to New Eden. Chen didn't know it yet, but her discovery would trigger the largest military response in human history. The message she was sending to Earth would reach Fleet Command within hours, and within days every human world would know the truth about New Eden's fate. The aliens who had destroyed this colony thought they were dealing with just another primitive species to be cataloged and disposed of. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Marcus Stone stood in the command center of Luna Station, watching as the most important message in human history was transmitted to every corner of human space. The holographic display before him showed hundreds of star systems, each one lighting up as the emergency broadcast reached them. Within hours, every human colony, every space station, every mining outpost and exploration vessel would receive the same message. Priority Alpha emergency. New Eden colony has been destroyed by hostile alien forces. All human settlements are at risk. Terra Directive is now active. Report to your designated rally points immediately. This is not a drill. The Terra Directive had been created 200 years earlier, when humanity first began expanding beyond the solar system. It was based on a simple but powerful idea. If anyone attacked humans anywhere in the galaxy, every human everywhere would respond as one unified force. Most people had assumed it would never be used. They were wrong. Stone watched the responses, flooding in from across human space. The colonies in the Alpha Centauri system were already mobilizing their defense fleets. The mining stations around Vega were converting their industrial ships into makeshift warships. Even the deep space exploration vessels were turning around and heading for the nearest military depot to be armed for combat. "Sir, incoming priority transmission from Earth Central Command," reported Lieutenant Commander Davis. "Put them through." The image of Fleet Admiral Rebecca Hayes appeared on the main screen. Her face was grim but determined. "Marcus, I've just finished briefing the World Council. The vote was unanimous. We're authorizing the largest military mobilization in human history." Stone nodded. He had served with Hayes for over 20 years, and had never seen her look so serious. "What are our orders, Admiral?" Find whoever did this to New Eden and make them pay. Every available ship, every trained crew member, every piece of military equipment humanity can spare is being placed under your command. The politicians are calling it Operation Righteous Fury. Stone looked at the tactical display showing ship positions across human space. Numbers were already climbing as vessels reported ready for deployment. How many ships are we talking about? Rebecca? Current projections show we'll have over 700,000 combat-ready vessels within the next month. Everything from battleships to converted cargo haulers with missile pods welded to their hulls. Marcus, we're not just sending a fleet. We're sending the entire military might of humanity. 700,000 ships. Stone had trouble processing the number. The largest previous human military operation had involved barely 30,000 vessels during the Titan Rebellion 50 years ago. This would be 20 times larger. Sir, interrupted Communications Officer Park, we're receiving reports from colony governors across the outer sectors. They're all saying the same thing. Every able-bodied person is volunteering for military service. The shipyards are running triple shifts to convert civilian vessels to military use. Stone turned to look at the latest reports streaming across his displays. What he saw amazed him. On Mars, the entire population of Olympia City had volunteered for service in a single day. The asteroid mining guilds were donating their entire fleets. Even the notoriously independent Outer Rim traders were offering their ships and crews without asking for payment. Dr. Sarah Kim, the station's alien affairs specialist, approached Stone with a concerned expression. Admiral, we're receiving some interesting intelligence from our monitoring stations throughout the galaxy. Other alien civilizations are, well, they're frightened. Frightened of what? Of us, sir. Of humanity's response to New Eden. Kim pulled up a holographic display showing intercepted alien communications. The Zephyrian Collective just recalled all their trading vessels from human space. The Andromedan Assembly has declared a neutral zone around their territory. Even the Centauri Federation is asking for assurances that we won't attack their worlds. Stone was puzzled. Why would they think we'd attack them? They had nothing to do with New Eden. That's just it, sir. Most alien species have never seen anything like what we're doing. When their colonies are attacked, they typically respond with 1 or 2 fleets, maybe a few thousand ships at most. But humanity is mobilizing our entire civilization for war. From their perspective, we look like we're preparing to conquer the galaxy. Lieutenant Commander Davis looked up from his communications console. Sir, the Rigelian ambassador is requesting an emergency meeting. They want to discuss humanity's intentions regarding galactic peace. Stone almost smiled despite the grim circumstances. Tell the ambassador that humanity's intentions are simple. We're going to find whoever killed our people and make sure they can never do it again. If that frightens other species, maybe they should have thought about that before someone decided to treat humans like laboratory animals. The next few weeks passed in a blur of activity. Ships poured into the designated rally points from every corner of human space. The massive naval yards at Jupiter were working around the clock to outfit civilian vessels with military hardware. Entire cargo fleets were being converted into missile carriers. Passenger liners were being turned into troop transports. But it wasn't just the military response that impressed Stone. It was the unity. For the first time in centuries, every human faction was working together. The inner system industrial powers, the outer rim frontier colonies, the deep space explorer guilds, even the asteroid miners who usually avoided contact with any government. They were all contributing to the war effort. Stone received daily reports from colony governors, corporate executives, and military commanders. The message was always the same. Whatever humanity needed for this war, they would provide it. Money, resources, ships, crews, everything was available without question. Sir, final fleet tally coming in, reported Davis. 697,438 vessels reported combat ready and en route to the primary staging area. Another 15,000 support ships including medical vessels, supply haulers, and mobile repair stations. Stone looked at the numbers in amazement. Over 700,000 ships, the largest fleet in galactic history, and it's all human. Captain Rodriguez, his tactical advisor, approached with the latest intelligence reports. Admiral, our deep space reconnaissance has picked up the trail of the alien ships responsible for New Eden. They're heading toward the galactic rim, following a path that suggests they've been hitting other star systems along the way. Other human colonies? No, sir. Other species entirely. Intelligence suggests these aliens have been systematically destroying civilizations for quite some time. New Eden might not have been their first target, just their first human target. Stone felt his anger growing colder and more focused. These weren't random raiders or pirates. They were systematic destroyers of entire civilizations. And they had made the mistake of adding humanity to their list of victims. Rodriguez, I want every piece of data we have on these aliens compiled and distributed to every ship captain in the fleet. Tactical analysis, weapon signatures, ship configurations, everything. Already in progress, sir. Stone walked to the main viewing port and looked out at the space around Luna Station. The sight took his breath away. As far as he could see, human warships filled the void. Massive battleships from Earth's home fleet floated alongside smaller destroyers from the outer colonies. Sleek cruisers from Mars shared space with converted mining vessels bristling with hastily installed weapons. Sir? Davis called out. Incoming message from Fleet Admiral Hayes. Hayes appeared on the main screen again, this time with a satisfied expression. Marcus, I've just received confirmation from the World Council. You have complete authority to pursue the aliens responsible for New Eden wherever they may lead you. No political restrictions, no territorial limitations. Hunt them down and show them what happens when someone declares war on humanity. Stone nodded grimly. Understood, Admiral. We'll find them. I know you will. And Marcus, the entire human race is watching. Make them proud. As the transmission ended, Stone turned to address his command staff. Gentlemen and ladies, we're about to embark on the largest military operation in human history. Our mission is simple. Find the aliens who destroyed New Eden and make sure they never threaten another human life. He paused, looking at each of his officers in turn. These aliens thought they were dealing with just another primitive species to be catalogued and eliminated. They're about to learn that humanity doesn't just fight back. We fight back with everything we have. 700,000 ships and the full industrial might of human civilization. Stone activated the fleet-wide communication system. His voice would now reach every captain, every crew member, every soldier in the vast armada. This is Admiral Stone to all ships. We are no longer just seeking justice for New Eden. We're sending a message to the entire galaxy. Humanity protects its own, and we will never forgive those who mistake our compassion for weakness. The human armada moved through space like a steel river flowing toward vengeance. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of his flagship Retribution, watching as 700,000 human warships followed the trail left by New Eden's destroyers. The alien ships had been careless, leaving behind quantum signatures that human scientists could track across dozens of star systems. Admiral, we're receiving long-range sensor data from the advanced scouts, reported Commander Chen, who had been promoted after her discovery of New Eden's fate. The aliens hit the Kepler 442 system 3 days ago. Same pattern as New Eden. Stone felt his jaw tighten. Human colony? No, sir. The Kepler system belonged to a species called the Vashti. Population of about 800,000. Our scouts are reporting the same type of destruction we found at New Eden. Glass craters where cities used to be and those strange harvesting devices. Dr. Walsh, now serving as the fleet's chief science officer, looked up from her analysis stations. Admiral, I've been studying the quantum trail signatures. This isn't random raiding. The aliens are following a specific path through the galaxy, hitting systems with intelligent life in a carefully planned sequence. How many systems? Based on our tracking data, they've destroyed at least 17 different worlds in the past 6 months. Some were species we've never heard of. Others, she paused, checking her data. Others were civilizations that went silent decades ago. We always assumed they were natural disasters or civil wars. Now we know better. Stone walked to the tactical display showing their current position. The alien trail was leading them toward the outer spiral arm of the galaxy, through regions that most species considered too dangerous or remote to explore, but the destroyers of New Eden seemed to know exactly where they were going. Sir, incoming transmission from Battle Group 7, announced Lieutenant Torres. Captain Morrison reports they've found survivors. Stone's attention snapped to the communications station. Survivors, human? No, sir. Alien. From one of the attacked worlds. Captain Morrison requests permission to bring them aboard for questioning. Granted. Route them to Medical Bay 3, and have Dr. Walsh's team prepare for first contact protocols. 2 hours later, Stone found himself face-to-face with 3 creatures unlike anything in human databases. They were roughly humanoid but covered in crystalline scales that shifted color with their emotions. They called themselves the Kythera, and they were the only known survivors of their homeworld's destruction. The lead Kythera, who identified herself as Scholar Zeth Ka, spoke through a hastily configured translation device. Your species? You are the humans, yes? We have heard whispers of your great fleet moving through the void. Stone nodded. We are, and we're hunting the same creatures that destroyed your world. Zethka's scales shifted to a deep blue color that the translator indicated was sadness mixed with amazement. No species has ever pursued the Devourers with such force. Most civilizations hide when they learn of their approach. You are different. Devourers? That is what we call them. They have haunted this region of space for longer than our recorded history. They come, they study, they harvest, they move on, always following the same pattern. Dr. Walsh stepped forward with a portable scanner. Scholar Zethka, would you be willing to share information about these Devourers? Anything you know might help us stop them. The alien scales shifted to what the translator called hope mixed with disbelief. You truly believe you can stop them? The Devourers are ancient, powerful. They have consumed entire galactic sectors. Stone's expression hardened. They made a mistake when they attacked humans. We don't just fight to survive. We fight to win. And we never stop until our enemies are destroyed. Over the next several hours, Scholar Zethka and the other Kithara survivors provided crucial intelligence about the Devourers. They were an ancient species that had perfected the art of consuming other civilizations. They didn't just destroy worlds for territory or resources. They studied each species they encountered, cataloging their biology, psychology, and technology before erasing them from existence. The Devourers see themselves as the galaxy's ultimate predators, Zethka explained. They believe all other species exist only to be studied and consumed. Your New Eden was just the latest entry in their vast catalog of extinct civilizations. Captain Morrison, who had rescued the survivors, asked the question everyone was thinking. How many species have they destroyed? Zethka's scales turned a deep purple. Thousands, perhaps tens of thousands. They have been doing this for millions of years, moving systematically through the galaxy like a plague that never ends. Stone felt cold fury building in his chest. The destruction of New Eden wasn't just an isolated attack. It was part of a genocide campaign that had been running for millennia. These Devourers had been erasing intelligent life from the galaxy on an industrial scale. Scholar Zethka, do you know where they're headed next? The trail leads toward what you humans call the Sagittarius Arm. There is a region there where many young species have recently achieved spaceflight. The Devourers always prefer to study species at that stage of development. Dr. Walsh looked alarmed. Admiral, there are dozens of emerging civilizations in that region. If the Devourers reach them... Stone didn't need her to finish. How long do we have? Based on their current speed and the distance involved, perhaps 2 weeks before they reach the first targets. Stone activated his fleet communications. All task force commanders, immediate priority conference. We're changing our strategy. Within an hour, Stone was addressing his senior officers via holographic link. Representatives from all major battle groups appeared around the conference table, their faces grim but determined. Ladies and gentlemen, we've learned that the aliens we're hunting aren't just raiders. They're systematic exterminators who have been wiping out intelligent species for millions of years. New Eden was just their latest victim in a galaxy-wide genocide campaign. Admiral Hayes appeared on the communications screen from Earth. Marcus, you have full authorization to use any means necessary to stop this threat. If these Devourers have been committing genocide on this scale, they represent a threat to all intelligent life. Stone nodded. Thank you, Admiral. Here's our new operational plan. The main fleet will continue pursuing the Devourers along their current trajectory, but I'm detaching fast response battle groups to reach the threatened systems ahead of them. Commander Kim of Battle Group 3 raised her hand. Sir, what are our rules of engagement with the Devourers? Stone's expression turned cold. There are no rules of engagement. These creatures have spent millions of years treating intelligent species like laboratory specimens. They've erased entire civilizations without mercy or remorse. We will show them exactly the same consideration they showed our people at New Eden. Captain Rodriguez of the Science Division looked uncomfortable. Admiral, what about prisoners? Intelligence gathering. We'll take prisoners if they surrender. But given what we've learned about their methods, I doubt they'll have the concept of surrender in their vocabulary. Dr. Walsh activated her holographic display. Admiral, I've been analyzing the technology we captured from those harvesting devices on New Eden. I think I've found a way to turn their own weapons against them. Explain. The Devourers use biomechanical technology. Their ships and weapons are part living organism, part machine. I've developed a viral program that can infect their systems, essentially giving their own technology a disease that spreads through their networks. Stone felt the first genuine smile he'd had in weeks. How effective would this weapon be? Theoretical models suggest it could disable entire fleets. Their interconnected biosystems would spread the virus faster than they could contain it. Admiral Hayes leaned forward on the screen. Dr. Walsh, you have unlimited resources to develop. This weapon, whatever you need, you'll have it. Stone addressed his commanders again. We're not just hunting these devourers anymore. We're going to show the entire galaxy what happens when someone tries to erase humanity from existence. Every species that's cowering in fear of these predators will learn that humans don't hide from threats. We eliminate them. Captain Morrison spoke up. Sir, what about the other species in the region? The ones the devourers are targeting next? We're going to save them. Every single one. Stone's voice carried absolute conviction. The devourers have spent millions of years proving that the strong prey on the weak. We're going to prove them wrong. Scholar Zeth Ka, who had been listening to the human discussion through the translator, made a gesture that indicated amazement. You humans truly intend to fight not just for your own species, but for strangers you have never met? Stone looked at the alien survivor with steady eyes. Scholar Zeth Ka, when someone threatens any intelligent species, they threaten the concept of intelligence itself. The devourers don't just kill people, they kill potential. They kill the future contributions those civilizations might have made to the galaxy. He turned back to his assembled commanders. We're not just avenging New Eden anymore. We're ending a genocide campaign that's been running since before human civilization existed. The devourers think they're the ultimate predators. They're about to learn what real predators look like when they're protecting their territory. Deep in the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy, in a region of space that had been dark to most civilizations for millions of years, the Devourer Imperium received disturbing news. The newest species they had catalogued, the humans, were not behaving according to the established patterns. Supreme Devourer Kethvash floated in the biomechanical chamber that served as the nerve center of the Imperium's greatest hive world. Around its ancient form, thousands of data streams flowed like living rivers of light, each one carrying information from the vast network of worlds that made up their domain. The human response is unprecedented, reported Sub-Commander Yexnol, its crystalline body pulsing with nervous energy. Our deep space observers confirm that over 700,000 vessels are pursuing our harvesting fleets. Kethvash's massive form rippled with what might have been amusement. It had lived for over 50,000 years, consuming the life essence of countless species to maintain its existence. In all that time, no species had ever responded to devourer attention with anything approaching this level of organization. 700,000 ships from a single species? Kethvash's mental voice echoed through the chamber. Impossible. No civilization commits more than a fraction of their military forces to external threats. The data has been verified multiple times, Supreme. The humans appear to have mobilized their entire civilization for war against us. Another consciousness entered the chamber. War leader Zexthon, commander of the Imperium's primary battle fleets. Its form was more angular than the others, shaped by millions of years of genetic modification for combat. Supreme One, I bring troubling reports from our forward positions. The human fleet is not following expected behavioral patterns. They are not merely defending their territory, they are actively hunting our forces. Kethvash's attention focused like a laser. Explain. Our harvesting fleet in the Kepler region was intercepted by human advance forces. Instead of engaging in territorial combat, the humans captured several of our vessels intact. They are studying our technology, learning our weaknesses. This news caused genuine concern among the assembled devourers. For millions of years they had been the ones doing the studying. Other species were specimens to be catalogued, not threats to be analyzed. Furthermore, Zexthon continued, the humans have been rescuing survivors from worlds we have processed. They are gathering intelligence about our methods, our targets, our strategic patterns. Sub-Commander Yexnol pulsed with anxiety. Supreme One, there are other disturbing reports. The humans are not just fighting for their own species. They have been providing aid to civilizations we were preparing to harvest. They appear to be protecting others. Kethvash was silent for a long moment, processing this information. In 50,000 years of existence, it had never encountered a species that fought for anything beyond its own survival. The concept of one species defending strangers was completely outside the devourer understanding of galactic behavior. Show me the current tactical situation, Kethvash commanded. The chamber filled with a three-dimensional map of the local galactic region. Red markers showed devourer forces, while blue markers represented the human fleet. What Kethvash saw was deeply troubling. The human force was massive, larger than any military response in recorded galactic history. But more concerning was how it was organized. Rather than moving as a single defensive unit, the human fleet had split into multiple task forces that were simultaneously pursuing devourer forces, rescuing targeted species, and establishing defensive positions around vulnerable worlds. They are fighting a coordinated campaign across multiple star systems, War Leader Zexthon reported. This level of strategic coordination requires command and communication capabilities we did not expect from such a young species. Kethvash studied the display more carefully. What is the status of our harvesting operations in the outer spiral regions? Suspended, Supreme One. Human forces have reached 12 worlds ahead of our scheduled harvesting fleets. They have established defensive positions and are evacuating the native populations. Evacuating them to where? To other human worlds or to temporary safe zones protected by human military forces. The humans appear to be establishing a network of protected space throughout the region. This information shook Kethvash to its core. The Devourers had built their entire civilization on the assumption that they were the galaxy's ultimate predators, and that all other species would eventually fall to their systematic harvesting campaigns. But the humans were creating something unprecedented, a protective alliance of species working together to resist devourer expansion. Supreme One, interrupted another consciousness, this one belonging to science leader Hexmall. I have completed analysis of the human specimens we collected from their colony. The results are disturbing. Explain. Human physiology shows extensive evidence of evolutionary pressure from predator species. Their entire biology is designed for survival in hostile environments. More concerning, their social structures are built around cooperation in the face of external threats. Kethvash's massive form shifted slightly. Meaning? Meaning that when threatened, humans do not fragment or weaken like most species. They become stronger. The attack on their colony did not terrify them into submission. It triggered biological and social responses that made them more dangerous. War Leader Zexthon pulsed with agitation. Science Leader, are you suggesting that our harvesting of the human colony actually strengthened their species? That is exactly what I am suggesting. Humans evolved on a world where constant external threats required cooperative responses to survive. By attacking them, we have activated millions of years of evolutionary programming that makes them more unified, more determined, and more willing to sacrifice for the group. The implications hit all the assembled devourers at once. They had not just attacked another species, they had attacked a species whose evolutionary biology was specifically designed to become more dangerous when threatened. Kethvash was quiet for several minutes, processing this revelation. Finally, it addressed the assembled council. What is the current status of our primary battle fleets? Ready for deployment, Supreme One, Zexthon reported. We have over 200,000 bioships available for combat operations, including the great devourers capable of consuming entire star systems. Deploy them all. This human threat must be eliminated before it spreads further. Supreme One, surely a full deployment is excessive for a single species regardless of their fleet size. Kethvash's mental voice carried a cold edge that silenced all discussion. Sub-Commander Yexnol, in 50,000 years no species has ever posed a genuine threat to the Devourer Imperium. But no species has ever responded to our harvesting operations by mobilizing their entire civilization for war. The Supreme Devourer paused, considering the tactical display still floating in the chamber. These humans are not behaving like prey species. They are behaving like another apex predator that views us as a threat to their territory. And their territory, apparently, now includes every intelligent species in the galaxy. Science Leader. Hexmall pulsed with nervous energy. Supreme One, there is one additional concern. Our intercepted communications suggest that the humans are not just fighting to defend themselves. They appear to be fighting to end our existence entirely. Explain. Human military communications repeatedly reference eliminating the threat and ensuring this never happens again. They are not seeking to drive us away from their territory. They are seeking to destroy our entire civilization. This revelation sent ripples of shock through the assembled devourers. For millions of years, they had been the ones deciding which species lived and which died. The concept that another species might make that decision about them was completely outside their experience. War Leader Zexthon's form shifted to aggressive configurations. Supreme One, perhaps we should consider negotiating with the humans. Offer them a treaty that excludes their territory from our harvesting operations. No. Kethvash's response was immediate and absolute. For millions of years, the Devourer Imperium has been the galaxy's ultimate authority, on which species deserve to survive. We will not negotiate with prey, no matter how aggressively they resist harvesting. The Supreme Devourer activated the Imperium's highest-level command protocols. All harvesting operations are suspended immediately. Every Devourer vessel, every bioship, every battle station is to converge on the coordinates of the approaching human fleet. Supreme One, that will leave our core worlds undefended. Our core worlds have been undefended for millions of years because no species has ever been capable of threatening them. That ends now. Kethvash's mental presence filled the chamber, with cold determination. The humans have made a fundamental error. They have assumed that because we study our prey before consuming them, we are weak or unprepared for real combat. The chamber's biomechanical walls pulsed with increased energy. As battle preparations began, they will learn that we did not become the galaxy's apex predators by being gentle with those who oppose us. The Devourer Imperium has consumed civilizations that spanned entire galactic sectors. We will not be intimidated by a single species, regardless of how many ships they can deploy. Sub-Commander Yex Knoll hesitated before speaking. The battle began across 17 star systems simultaneously, as 700,000 human warships met the full might of the Devourer Imperium in the largest space conflict in galactic history. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of his flagship Retribution, watching as streams of data flowed in from battle groups scattered across hundreds of light years. All task forces report ready, Admiral, Commander Chen announced. Dr. Walsh's viral weapon has been loaded into every ship's computer system. Stone nodded grimly. The confrontation he had been preparing for was finally here. The Devourers had deployed everything: bioships the size of moons, living weapons that could consume entire fleets, and technology that had been perfected over millions of years of galactic predation. Sir, long-range sensors are detecting massive Devourer formations moving into position, reported Lieutenant Torres. Their flagship appears to be some kind of biomechanical construct over 200 kilometers long. Through the view screen, Stone could see the enemy fleet approaching. The Devourer ships looked like something out of a nightmare. Organic hulls that pulsed with internal light, weapons that writhed like living tentacles, and energy signatures that seemed to bend space itself around them. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Devourer flagship, Torres announced. Put them through. The main screen flickered, then displayed the most terrifying creature Stone had ever seen. Supreme Devourer Kethvash was a massive amalgamation of absorbed life forms, its body a constantly shifting mass of organic components that had once belonged to thousands of different species. When it spoke, its voice carried the weight of 50,000 years of accumulated consciousness. Human Admiral, I am Kethvash, Supreme Leader of the Devourer Imperium. Your species has committed an unforgivable act of defiance against the natural order of the galaxy. Stone stepped forward, his expression hard as steel. The only unforgivable act here is what you did to New Eden and thousands of other worlds. This ends today. Kethvash's form rippled with what might have been amusement. You speak with the confidence of prey that has never faced a true predator. Your species is young, barely evolved beyond tribal warfare. The Devourer Imperium was consuming civilizations when your sun was still forming. Maybe that's your problem, Stone replied, coldly. You've been picking on helpless prey for so long you've forgotten what real predators look like. The transmission cut off, and immediately the Devourer fleet began its attack. Bioships launched living missiles that sought out their targets like hunting animals. Energy weapons that could unmake matter at the molecular level reached across space toward the human formations. But Stone had planned for this moment. All ships execute Operation Righteous Fury. Dr. Walsh, deploy the viral weapon. Across the human fleet, specially modified communication arrays began broadcasting Dr. Walsh's viral program directly into the Devourer biomechanical networks. The virus was designed to exploit the interconnected nature of Devourer technology, spreading through their living ships like a disease through a body. The results were immediate and devastating. Devourer bioships began convulsing as their organic components turned against their mechanical systems. Weapons that had functioned for millions of years suddenly went silent. Navigation systems failed as viral code corrupted the neural networks that guided the massive vessels. Direct hit on their central command cluster, reported Captain Morrison. Their flagship is showing massive system failures. Stone watched with grim satisfaction as the Devourer fleet began to tear itself apart from within, but he knew this was only the beginning. All battle groups advanced to secondary positions. They'll adapt to the virus eventually. He was right. Within minutes, the surviving Devourer ships began implementing countermeasures, isolating infected systems and rerouting around viral contamination. But those precious minutes had allowed the human fleet to close to optimal firing range. What followed was unlike any battle in galactic history. The Devourers fought with the fury of apex predators, facing their first real challenge in millions of years. But humanity fought with something the Devourers had never encountered: moral conviction backed by industrial might. Human ships that were destroyed by Devourer weapons were immediately replaced by others from the massive reserves Stone had kept in reserve. When Devourer bioships regenerated from damage, human engineers deployed weapons specifically designed to prevent biological healing. When the enemy adapted to one tactic, humanity switched to another. Admiral, Battle Group 7 reports they've captured a Devourer command vessel intact, Chen announced. They're requesting permission to begin immediate interrogation of the survivors. Granted. I want to know everything about their command structure, their remaining forces, and any other weapons they might deploy. The interrogation results arrived within the hour, and they were shocking. The captured Devourers revealed that their Imperium was far larger than anyone had imagined. Thousands of worlds, millions of bioships, and resources gathered from consuming entire galactic sectors over the course of millions of years. But they also revealed something else. The Devourers were activating their ultimate weapon, something called the System Eater. Dr. Walsh appeared on Stone's communication screen, her face pale with concern. Admiral, based on the intelligence we've gathered, this System Eater is a biomechanical construct capable of consuming entire star systems. It literally eats planets, stars, everything in its path, and converts the matter into more Devourer ships. Stone felt cold dread. How long before it arrives? Based on the energy signatures our deep space sensors are detecting, less than 6 hours. Stone made the hardest decision of his military career. All battle groups, prepare for tactical withdrawal to defensive positions around inhabited worlds. We're not running from this fight, but we're not going to let them use their superweapon against helpless civilians. But before the order could be implemented, something unexpected happened. Communications arrays throughout the human fleet began receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Species that had been silent for decades, civilizations that had hidden in fear of Devourer attacks, were suddenly speaking with one voice. The Zephyrian Collective, the Andromedan Assembly, the Centauri Federation, even species that had never made contact with humanity before. They were all sending the same message: we stand with humanity against the Devourers. Admiral Hayes appeared on Stone's communication screen from Earth. Marcus, you need to see this. We're receiving offers of military support from over 200 different civilizations. They're calling it the Galactic Liberation Alliance. Stone stared in amazement as his tactical displays updated with new fleet signatures. Thousands of alien vessels were converging on the battlefield, their crews united by a single purpose: ending the Devourer threat forever. Scholar Zeth Ka, the Kythera survivor, appeared on the communication channel. Admiral Stone, for millions of years the galaxy's civilizations have lived in fear of the Devourers. But you humans have shown us that predators can be fought, that victims can become protectors. We will not let you stand alone. The System Eater arrived as a dark shadow that blocked out stars, a biomechanical monstrosity over 1,000 kilometers long that began consuming everything in its path. Planets disappeared into its maw, converted into raw materials for more Devourer ships. Even Stone felt a moment of despair as he watched entire solar systems vanish. But then Dr. Walsh made a discovery that changed everything. Admiral, the System Eater's biomechanical nature means it's vulnerable to a concentrated application of our viral weapon. If we can get a direct transmission into its core systems, how close would we need to get? Practically inside the wires thing. It would be a suicide mission. Stone looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. These people had followed him across the galaxy, had fought battles against impossible odds, had stood firm when the fate of all intelligent life hung in the balance. Not suicide, he said quietly. Sacrifice. And not just one ship. All of us if necessary. Commander Chen stepped forward. Admiral, the entire fleet is requesting permission to participate in the final attack. Every ship, every crew member. They're saying they didn't come this far to watch civilizations die. Stone activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Stone. The enemy has deployed a weapon that can destroy star systems. We can stop it, but only by flying directly into the heart of that thing and delivering Dr. Walsh's viral weapon to its core. He paused, looking out at the 700,000 ships under his command. I won't order anyone to take part in this attack, it's voluntary only. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every single ship in the human fleet volunteered, not just the military vessels. The converted cargo haulers, the mining ships, the passenger liners that had been hastily armed for combat. Every human crew in the fleet was willing to die to stop the Devourers. But they weren't alone. The alien vessels of the Galactic Liberation Alliance also volunteered, their crews united in the determination to end millions of years of Devourer tyranny. The final attack was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Over 700,000 human ships, plus thousands of allied vessels, flew directly into the System Eater's consumption field, firing every weapon, transmitting viral programs,